Okay, so I added the pigment powder to this one. I added this AK Gold one, or AL Carrot Gold. Let's see if I can raise this up so you can maybe get an idea of the pearly pigment that's to that. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one. The next one I'm going to put a bit of this touched copper in. Already have to mix all the glops in it as well. Again, the thinning medium helps it to actually have something to bind to, so it will stick to the vinyl when it's done. So it's important to add that. I found out the hard way that I didn't realize you would need something like that until I painted my drake in for the first time, and then after one layer of the gold coming off on my hands when I was working on the second layer, I had to remedy that by adding matte finish to the next layer. Okay, so this one I'm going to add a little bit of the Reptar color. I don't know, I've never used the Reptar color before, but I don't want it to lighten it up much. I just want it to have a little bit of shimmer in there. Even with the little bit of leftover torched copper that came over from this paint, it's got a little bit of a sparkle already. This is the Reptar. This is the one that kind of changes from gold to green. That's pretty fascinating to watch it absorb. You can see the color in that. Pretty pretty. Okay, that has lightened it up a little bit and turned it kind of a lighter gold, so we'll see what happens. I don't happen to have a darker chocolate brown colored paint, so we'll see. Hopefully that'll be a dark enough color, otherwise it'll go from that into this purple color. This one I'm going to add this black cherry color to. I have used this one before on Draken and it is beautiful. Nice plum purpley color. Baggies sometimes are a pain in the bum to open. Come on, open sesame. Okay, so this is my color palette for Shellden's Shell. It's going to take multiple layers of this, but I want it going on thick and I want it going on as few layers as possible. But I also still kind of want to have a translucent feel to the shell, like there's depth to it and not just completely covered up with the paints. Alright, so what I'm going to do is push this out of the way so I can explain what I wanted to do with Shellden. This part of Shellden's shell, like between here, is going to be the lightest color. Then there will be a stripe where it fades into the orangey brown, and then it'll go into the darker brown, and at the very crease it will go into the purple. So that crease is going to be the very outside of my spiral. You can see it's getting everywhere already because it's on my hands. And that's okay because it's going on relatively dark, so that won't really matter much. If it was on a human kit, then I'd be really concerned, but they've been relocated off the table for now. Alright, so I'm not going to use this brush on the light color anymore. That's now my darker brush. So now I will go to a new selection of brushes. This is what I'm going to put it on with, as well as smear it around with. So I'm going to use the flat ones, one for gold, one for the orange, one for the brown, and I'll save that same purple one for the purple. Alright, let me see if I can find a spot that is the best spot to put him so you can see the better view of it going on. This is going to take many, many layers. Hopefully only about 3 or 4. This really isn't even dark enough. Even though it's darker than any human paint that you've ever used, this is going to take 10 years if we do it in layers this thin. Okay, we don't want to do too many big chunks at a time, so I'm just going to do this top layer right here, and then we're going to blend it. And we don't want this stripe. You see how it's got a big stiff edge? You don't want that when it's all said and done. You want it to be blending off to the next color. So gently just tap it down. Starting on the color itself at first. And when it's tapped down, then you can go to the very edge and start smearing it off into the next color so it fades slowly out from one color to the next area. Now we have to use our artistic judgment and figure out where I want that stripe to retain its location. I want it coming all the way in. And again, see how I'm not trying to be like perfect with my angles. The blending is what's going to make the magic here. It's going to be like a rainbow where it blends from one color to the next. Okay, so I think, except for in the very center, that is the first layer of the gold. Alright, so I'm going to put this gold brush down. I'm going to move on to the second brush and go for the orangey color. And this color is going on thicker and darker. I guess I got the paint thicker to begin with, so it's going to take less coverage of this color to pull it off. Just trying to pull the color down towards the inside of the shell, going with the grooves that are sculpted onto it. Alright, so I'm going to get a new sponge for the orangey color, and I'm going to start blending it into the gold as well as down into the bottom of the paint of the bare vinyl. We want it to look smeary and blendy, no still lines, so you can kind of drag some of it in with an edge so that it looks naturally like it's being pulled in with the grooves. Down here where it's tight, it's kind of a hard squeeze, so I'm going to find a blending brush and do that down there with the brush instead of the sponge. Okay, so there's still a lighter pale part right here that I don't want to fill up too much with the orange because I want the yellow to be able to fade into it. So we're going to leave that kind of bare for right now. Now we're going to swap to this side of the shell. Come back to our orange. My paints are kind of in an awkward spot because I'm trying to do this on video, but okay, so that's my baseline, and it's obviously not blended, so don't panic yet. Now we have our color where we want it, and this of course is just the under layers. We have many layers to get it to be where we want it to be. Again, you're going to pull it down towards those creases. And blend it smoothly from one layer to the next. I'm going to come in with my brush and try to pull some of these colors down so it doesn't smear it too terribly into the bottom parts of the shell. Okay, right here it's kind of thick, so we're going to pull it up into the gold. When it comes to blending, pulling is better than pushing. When you pull the paint, it blends it smoother than when you're trying to push it away. So pull it towards you to blend it. Okay, so this side is done, that side is done. Now we're going to move to the next color in our palette. which is the brown. I'll put the gold or the orange brush away for a minute. Get out the brown. And I didn't put, I guess, enough color in these because they're not showing up as darkly as the orange one did. So we'll have to add some more color in the next layer. Let's see, where's my brown? Burnt umber. So I'm going to go straight into the paint and add some color. These layers kind of look like a blurry, smeary mess, and that's okay. We're okay with blundy, smeary when it comes to fantasy critters because, I don't know, there's no rules. They're not a human. You don't have to have exact details. You don't have manicured snails. And nature is a creator of color that just blends and smears every color that you can imagine. So we're going to kind of go along with the theme and just carry on and let it blend from one color to the next. I guess, can you see that? Hopefully you can see that. Alright, this side. I'm going to go straight into the paint again. Okay,